The night sky above Earth was unlike anything the people below could imagine. In the vastness of space, the stars twinkled quietly, seemingly unaware of the terrible storm about to descend upon them. An alien warship hovered silently above, casting a long shadow over the world. Its sleek design reflected the cold light of distant stars, and its massive size made it seem almost like a dark omen in the sky. Aboard the ship, the atmosphere was tense. The alien commanders stood in a room lined with screens and holograms, deep in conversation. Their discussions were sharp and quick, each one considering their next move carefully. These commanders were highly intelligent and experienced in warfare. Their species had conquered many worlds, each one falling before their superior technology and tactics. They had never faced a challenge they couldn't overcome. And yet, something about Earth stirred unease among them. "This planet," Commander Zarka said, his voice steady but filled with an undercurrent of doubt, "has a strange reputation. The humans are unpredictable, fierce in their survival, but they are weak compared to us. We can eliminate them with ease." Another officer, a younger alien named Velka, disagreed. "But their resilience," she began, looking at the data streams that showed human efforts to defend themselves. "Their technology is crude compared to ours, yet they continue to fight back. They don't surrender easily." Zarka waved her concerns away, though he couldn't completely ignore the words that lingered in the back of his mind. Humans had been considered weak by the advanced alien species for centuries, and their technology was far behind the weapons the aliens had at their disposal. The decision had been made. Earth was the next planet to fall under their rule, but the uncertainty that Velka expressed gnawed at him. "We will strike swiftly," Zarka ordered, turning to the navigation officer. "Prepare the fleet for orbital bombardment. We will wipe out their strongest forces, and the rest will crumble." As the aliens prepared for their attack, the young human soldier, Ethan, was completely unaware of the impending doom. Ethan had been on a routine patrol, deep in the forests of what was once a quiet, peaceful part of the world. The forests here had always been his refuge, a place where he could escape the chaos of the war that had ravaged his home. But even here, in the heart of nature, there was no escape from the war. The skies had begun to change weeks earlier, with strange objects appearing overhead. Humans had been hearing rumors of alien ships, but most thought them to be military propaganda, or at least exaggerated. Ethan was used to feeling isolated on these long patrols, but today, something felt different. The air seemed thicker, and a strange hum vibrated through the trees. His instincts told him something was wrong, but it was too late. Before he could react, a series of bright, pulsing lights appeared in the sky above him. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet trembled violently. He barely had time to register the noise, the roar of a descending alien ship, before he was thrown to the ground by a shockwave. He scrambled to his feet, heart racing, and looked around. The forest had gone eerily silent. Through the trees, he could see the massive shadow of the warship as it descended. The aliens had arrived. Ethan didn't have much time to think. His squad, stationed nearby, had been wiped out in a similar attack just days earlier, and he knew that if he didn't act fast, he would be the next casualty. With a shaky breath, he reached into his bag and pulled out the device he had been working on for months, a homemade EMP, electromagnetic pulse, device, designed to disable enemy electronics. It wasn't much, but it was his only chance. The aliens had already begun deploying their soldiers, sleek robotic machines that moved with unnatural precision. Ethan watched as they advanced, their advanced technology allowing them to scout and eliminate any resistance without breaking a sweat. The humans had no way of fighting back against such powerful foes. The resistance had been forced to rely on outdated weaponry, making them an easy target for the invading forces. The sight of the aliens landing and systematically wiping out the forests made Ethan's blood boil. Ethan's mind raced as the aliens closed in. He activated the EMP device and sent it hurtling toward the alien warship. His heart pounded in his chest as he watched the small device travel through the air. its simple design looking laughably insignificant against the backdrop of the massive, invincible alien ship. It was a long shot, but it was his only hope. When the EMP device hit the ship's hull, it triggered a massive shockwave that sent a ripple through the alien technology. The ship's cloaking device flickered for a moment, and then the once stealthy warship became visible to anyone who was watching. For a moment, everything went quiet. The aliens paused, their perfect strategies thrown into disarray. The command center on the alien ship buzzed with activity as the alien officers scrambled to understand what had just happened. What was that? Zarka demanded, his voice growing louder with confusion. The technology aboard their ship was some of the most advanced in the universe, and yet a single small device from a primitive species had disrupted their operations. Impossible, Velka muttered, staring at the screens. They couldn't have developed anything like that. Their technology is far inferior. But the evidence was right in front of them. The warship's cloaking device had failed. The EMP had done something the aliens hadn't expected. It had disrupted their systems, just enough to show how vulnerable even their most advanced machines could be. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were adapting, learning, and improving. Zarka's eyes narrowed as he watched the chaos unfold. He had underestimated the humans. He had believed that their resistance would be nothing more than a brief inconvenience, easily crushed by the overwhelming might of the alien forces. But now, he realized, this would not be so easy. Ethan, meanwhile, didn't have the luxury of time to bask in his success. His heart raced, but he knew that his small victory was only temporary. The aliens were too powerful, and it wouldn't be long before they adapted and retaliated. He had bought himself some time, but he was still in enemy territory, and the alien soldiers would be closing in on him soon. He couldn't afford to waste a second. As Ethan sprinted through the forest, the alien forces began regrouping. They had already started to repair their systems, but the damage had been done. The EMP had shaken them, and for the first time, the alien commanders had a glimpse into what made humanity so dangerous. Not just their technology, but their unpredictability, their refusal to give up, and their ability to turn even the most hopeless situations into a chance for survival. Zarka stared out at the forest below, his gaze piercing through the chaos. He was beginning to realize that this mission was far from over, and humanity was not the easy target he had believed it to be. The battle was far from over, and the alien commanders couldn't shake the feeling that something had gone terribly wrong. Captain Zarka stood in the heart of the alien ship's command center, staring at the various displays as they flickered, still recovering from the unexpected disruption caused by the small EMP device thrown by a single human soldier. The disturbance had unsettled his crew, and the damage had been more than they anticipated. But it was more than just the technical malfunction that gnawed at Zarka's mind. He could not ignore the growing curiosity he felt toward these humans. Earth was supposed to be an easy conquest. The aliens had expected to roll over the human resistance effortlessly, as they had done with countless other civilizations. Yet there was something about these humans that made their destruction more difficult than anticipated. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and seemed unwilling to accept defeat, even when their chances of survival were almost non-existent. Zarka had seen many species across the galaxy, and none of them had displayed this level of tenacity. His mind raced as he replayed the sequence of events in his mind. A single human, out of nowhere, causing a disruption that no one had expected. The humans, he realized, were unlike any other species he had encountered. It wasn't just their will to survive. It was the way they adapted, the way they seemed to find hope even when there was none. This intrigued Zarka. He knew there was more to these creatures than met the eye. Back on Earth, Ethan, the soldier who had pulled off the impossible, had no idea that the alien forces were now watching his every move. His life had always been one of struggle, ever since he was old enough to understand the wars that raged across the globe. He had grown up in a world where conflict was a constant, where fighting for survival was the only way of life. His childhood was marked by images of cities in ruins, families torn apart by violence, and a world that seemed to be on the brink of destruction. Ethan had always felt like an outsider, detached from the conflicts that surrounded him. He had seen the devastation that war caused, but he had grown numb to it. He was just one of many soldiers who were thrown into the fight, with little more than orders to follow and a gun to hold. The world had become a place where survival was the only objective, and any idealism had been crushed. But there was something inside him that refused to die, something deep within that refused to let the darkness of the world consume him. It wasn't a desire for glory, nor was it a thirst for vengeance. It was a simple, unshakable belief in the right to exist. Ethan wasn't fighting for any grand cause. He was fighting because he wanted to survive, because he believed that human life was worth something, even in the face of impossible odds. When the war broke out on Earth, Ethan had joined the resistance movement. At first, it had been about survival, but as time passed, he found himself becoming something more. A symbol of human determination, of the unyielding will that had made humans unique among the stars. He wasn't just fighting for his own survival anymore. He was fighting for everyone, for the future of humanity itself. His story had spread across the resistance, and soon he became known as one of the most fearless and resourceful soldiers in their ranks. But despite his successes, Ethan often found himself doubting. Could humans really survive against such powerful forces? The aliens were too advanced, too well-equipped. They had everything, except, perhaps, one thing: they didn't understand humans. One evening, as Ethan and his fellow resistance fighters huddled around a fire in the wilderness, a new mission was assigned to them. The alien forces had begun infiltrating human bases, trying to root out resistance fighters one by one. They were getting bolder, launching attacks during the dead of night, using their superior technology to crush anyone who dared to oppose them. The resistance knew this was coming, but what the aliens didn't know was that the humans weren't just sitting ducks. They had learned to survive by using their wits, not just brute force. They had learned the art of guerrilla warfare, attacks that came out of nowhere, ambushes in the thick forests, and sudden strikes that left the invaders questioning everything they thought they knew about warfare. The first infiltration attempt came on a cold night, when the alien forces landed in a remote area where the humans had set up a small base. The aliens moved in swiftly, using their advanced sensors to locate the humans hiding in the trees. They thought they had the humans cornered, but as they advanced, they soon realized they had made a grave mistake. Ethan and his comrades had anticipated the attack. They had laid traps, used camouflage, and set up ambush points in the dense forest. When the alien soldiers stepped into their territory, they triggered a series of explosions that rocked the ground beneath their feet. The aliens were taken by surprise, their advanced technology momentarily stunned by the sheer unpredictability of the human assault. In the chaos, humans moved like shadows, striking where the aliens least expected. The aliens' advanced weaponry couldn't prepare them for the guerrilla tactics the humans had perfected over years of survival. The aliens, who had expected an easy victory, were caught off guard. Casualties began to mount, and the command officers struggled to regain control of the situation. Their troops were too accustomed to fighting well-organized and technologically advanced armies, not unpredictable humans who fought with sheer willpower and cunning. The humans weren't fighting with lasers or super-powered weapons. They were using basic low-tech explosives, traps, and knives. But the ferocity of their attacks was something the aliens hadn't prepared for. Zarka watched the reports of the battle unfold from his command center, his mind racing. How were these humans able to turn the tide? His forces had the advantage in firepower and technology, yet they were struggling against an enemy that didn't fight by any known rules. The more Zarka saw, the more he realized that humanity was a threat unlike any other. He began to study the humans more closely, analyzing their behavior, their tactics, and their mindset. What was it that made them so relentless? What drove them to fight back against impossible odds? The more he watched, the more Zarka was forced to confront an unsettling truth. It wasn't just their survival instinct. It was their spirit, their determination, and their refusal to accept defeat, no matter the cost. The aliens had underestimated the human will to fight. They had assumed that their technology would make them invincible, but they had overlooked the one thing that could never be defeated: the human heart. As the battles raged on, the aliens found themselves fighting not just an enemy they could defeat with superior firepower, but an enemy that would never stop fighting. And that realization, one that had never crossed Zarka's mind before, began to change everything. The more the humans fought back, the more the aliens realized why they had never been able to wipe out humanity. The humans didn't just fight because they had to. They fought because they wanted to live. And that perhaps was the most dangerous thing of all. The war had taken a surprising turn. The alien forces, once confident in their ability to crush humanity, were now finding themselves at the mercy of the humans they had underestimated. Earth's inhabitants, whom they had once deemed weak and insignificant, were proving to be an unyielding force. The humans, with their resilience, resourcefulness, and sheer will to survive, had begun striking back, and they were doing it in ways the aliens couldn't predict. The first sign of humanity's resistance had come in the form of a small, seemingly insignificant attack, a sabotage operation carried out by a handful of resistance fighters, led by none other than Ethan. The aliens had thought they were safe. Their massive warships were virtually untouchable, unbeatable in their minds. But as the attack unfolded, they realized just how wrong they had been. Ethan and his team had carefully planned the strike on one of the aliens' most powerful warships, the Korak, a behemoth capable of decimating entire cities in a single strike. The Korak had been stationed in low orbit around Earth, providing support for the alien ground forces. It was designed to be impenetrable, its shields and weapons more advanced than anything humanity had ever seen. The alien fleet had felt invincible, their advanced technologies overwhelming the Earth's primitive defenses. But Ethan had a different idea, an idea the aliens had never expected. The mission had been a risky one. Ethan and his team infiltrated the alien ship under the cover of darkness, using a combination of cloaking technology and old-fashioned stealth tactics. They didn't have the advanced weapons the aliens did, but they had something far more valuable: human ingenuity. Using their knowledge of alien technology, the humans had developed an EMP device capable of disabling the Korak systems long enough for them to strike. The catch: it had to be done manually, up close, and in the heart of the enemy ship. Ethan had known the risks. Failure meant certain death, but there was no turning back now. As they snuck past alien guards and navigated through the dark corridors of the massive ship, Ethan couldn't help but think of all the lives that had been lost. This mission wasn't just about victory. It was about proving to the aliens that they had underestimated humanity. The humans weren't just going to roll over. They weren't going to let themselves be wiped out without a fight. The team reached the engine room of the Korak, and as Ethan set up the EMP device, a loud crash echoed through the ship. They had been spotted. Panic set in. The team scattered, using the cramped hallways and maintenance ducts to their advantage. Alien soldiers came rushing toward them, weapons raised. The humans fought back with everything they had: blades, grenades, and even improvised weapons they had scavenged from the wreckage of past battles. But the odds were stacked against them. The alien soldiers were powerful, fast, and well-equipped. Just as it seemed like the team was about to be overrun, Ethan activated the EMP device. A blinding flash of light filled the room, and the Korak systems instantly shut down. The ship trembled as its once mighty shields flickered and failed, leaving it vulnerable. The alien soldiers, disoriented and confused, were unable to respond in time as the humans unleashed a devastating counterattack. The explosions were deafening as the ship's reactors went critical, and within minutes, the Korak was no more. The alien warship was destroyed, taking hundreds of soldiers with it. Back on Earth, the victory sent shockwaves through the alien ranks. The destruction of the Korak was no small feat. It wasn't just the loss of a ship. It was the loss of a symbol of their superiority. The alien commanders had believed they were invincible. Now they had to confront the uncomfortable reality. Humans could hurt them. Humans could win. As the news of the Orcs' destruction spread across the battlefield, the aliens began to reassess their strategy. They had long viewed humanity as a weak species, incapable of fighting back against their advanced technology. But the humans had just proven them wrong in the most spectacular fashion. The sheer audacity of the humans' actions left the alien forces reeling. How had they managed to disable such a formidable warship? How had they managed to survive in the first place? The alien leaders convened, their faces grim as they discussed the shocking turn of events. Captain Zarka, the commander of the alien fleet, was particularly unsettled. His forces had been routed in skirmishes, his warships had been damaged, and now they had lost one of their most powerful ships. The humans, he realized, were not the weaklings they had assumed. They were unpredictable, and their unpredictability made them dangerous. Zarka's frustration was palpable as he addressed his troops. "The humans are resilient," he said, his voice cold and commanding. "We underestimated them, but no more. We will take Earth, no matter the cost." The aliens had no choice but to escalate their attacks. They sent in more warships, more soldiers, and more advanced technology. But with each new strike, the humans found new ways to fight back. The tables had turned, and now the aliens were the ones on the defensive. As the alien forces pressed forward, they began to notice something else. The humans fought with a determination that couldn't be matched. It wasn't just about technology or tactics. It was something deeper, something that the aliens couldn't understand. It was the human spirit, the will to survive. The humans were using every resource at their disposal, both old and new, to keep the alien invaders at bay. They set traps, ambushed supply lines, and sabotaged the aliens' advanced technology at every turn. Their guerrilla tactics were working. The alien soldiers were growing weary, questioning the wisdom of underestimating the humans in the first place. But even as the humans fought back with every ounce of strength they had, the alien forces were not ready to give up. The aliens, with their advanced weaponry and superior numbers, continued to press on. They knew they couldn't afford another loss like the Orcs. The stakes were high, and they would stop at nothing to crush the human resistance once and for all. The battle raged on, but the humans were no longer the underdogs. They had shown the aliens that they were not to be underestimated, and as the humans prepared for the next wave of alien attacks, they knew that they had already won the most important battle, the battle for their survival. The aliens, who had once thought they could wipe out humanity with ease, were now learning the hard truth. Humans would never give up. Humans would never surrender. And that, more than anything else, was why the aliens had never truly been able to destroy humanity. Zarka sat alone in his command chamber, staring at the holographic display of Earth. The battle had not gone according to plan. His alien forces, confident in their technological superiority, were now grappling with a shocking truth. Humanity, a species they had once thought of as weak and helpless, was proving to be a formidable adversary. In the span of a few short months, the aliens had suffered significant losses. The destruction of the Orcs was just the beginning. Now, Earth's resistance was growing stronger, more organized, and more unpredictable with every passing day. He had spent years leading his fleet with a sense of superiority, assured that nothing could stand in the way of the alien invasion. Earth had seemed like an easy conquest. Its primitive technology, its disjointed societies, and its lack of advanced warfare capabilities had all led Zarka and his commanders to believe that the humans were nothing more than a footnote in the grand scheme of galactic conquest. They were just another species to be crushed beneath the weight of superior technology and force. But the humans had defied every expectation. Zarka's frustration was palpable as he convened with his top commanders. He had to find a way to shift the tide of the war. But he wasn't just fighting against humanity's technological advancements or guerrilla tactics. He was fighting against something much more dangerous: the human spirit. Every time the aliens launched an attack, they only seemed to make the humans stronger. The more the aliens pushed, the more determined the humans became. They were learning, adapting, and evolving faster than the aliens could comprehend. "We cannot continue underestimating them," Zarka said, his voice low and filled with anger. "The humans, they evolve. They don't just fight, they adapt. Every time we strike, they grow more resilient. Their will to survive is unlike anything I've seen before." One of his commanders, a stoic alien named Varelash, spoke up. "Sir, we have superior numbers, better technology, and more advanced weapons. How can this be happening? Why are we losing to them?" Zarka's eyes narrowed as he looked over his commanders. "Because we're not fighting them in the way we thought we would. We're not just facing an enemy with inferior technology. We're facing a species that refuses to die. A species that evolves with every defeat, every loss. We've underestimated their spirit, their survival instinct. And that is something we cannot destroy easily." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. His commanders remained silent, their expressions reflecting the uncertainty that had begun to creep into their minds. They had been so sure of their victory, and now they were forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. The humans were not as weak as they had believed. They were not just a race of primitive creatures. They were a species that thrived under pressure, that fought back against impossible odds. Zarka clenched his fists in frustration. "We cannot continue this campaign without understanding the humans better. We need to know their true nature, and we need to know why they keep fighting." As the meeting ended, Zarka remained in his chamber, deep in thought. The humans' resilience was something that couldn't be ignored. But he also realized something else. If the humans were to survive this war, they needed to be broken, physically, mentally, and emotionally. If they were to be defeated, they had to be shown that there was no hope for them, that no matter what they did, the aliens would always prevail. And to do that, the aliens would need to break their spirits. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ethan and his fellow resistance fighters were preparing for the next stage of the war. They knew the aliens would not give up easily. The destruction of the Korak had sent a powerful message, but they couldn't afford to rest on their laurels. The fight was far from over. Ethan was a symbol of humanity's resilience. He had seen too many of his comrades fall, but he had never wavered in his resolve. To him, this was not just a battle for survival. It was a battle for the future of humanity. He had seen firsthand how the aliens had underestimated humans, and now it was time to send another message to the invaders. The message would come through an unexpected channel, a captured alien commander. Ethan stood in a dimly lit room, staring down at the alien commander who had been captured in a raid on an enemy base. The alien was bruised and battered, but still alive. Ethan's team had interrogated the commander, learning valuable information about the alien fleet's movements and plans. But now, Ethan had a different purpose in mind. He walked up to the commander, his voice steady and unwavering. "You're going to deliver a message to your fleet," Ethan said, his words calm but filled with determination. "Tell them that humanity will not stop. We will never surrender. We don't die. We evolve, and we'll keep fighting until we win." The alien commander sneered, his pride wounded, but he knew there was no escape. Ethan's words were delivered with such conviction that even the alien couldn't ignore the gravity of the message. It was clear that humanity wasn't going to back down, and that realization was enough to shake the alien to his core. Ethan signaled to one of his fellow soldiers, who quickly broadcasted the message across the alien communications network. The words echoed through the alien fleet, reaching the ears of Zarka and his commanders. The message was simple but powerful. Humanity had no intention of being conquered. The fight was just beginning. As the broadcast reached the alien fleet, Zarka's gaze hardened. The message had shaken him more than he cared to admit. The humans were not simply fighting for survival. They were fighting for something greater. They were fighting for their very existence, and that made them an even more dangerous enemy. Every time the aliens thought they had gained the upper hand, the humans found a way to strike back. And now, they had made it clear that they would never give up. The alien commanders knew that this was not just a war of technology, it was a war of wills. Zarka clenched his fist around the command console. We will crush them, but it will not be easy. The message from Ethan had done its job. It had left the aliens stunned, but it had also reignited the fire within humanity. They were not just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for the future of their species. And that made all the difference. As the broadcast ended, Ethan's words continued to reverberate through the hearts of every human who had heard them. The aliens had made one mistake, one critical mistake. They had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, to evolve, and to survive. And now, the aliens would have to face the consequences of their arrogance. Humanity was not going to be extinguished. It was only just beginning to rise. And the aliens had no idea what was coming next. Zarka sat in the darkened war room, his fingers pressed tightly against the cold surface of his command console. His eyes, once filled with unshakable confidence, now betrayed the weight of doubt. He had watched his fleet crumble, slowly but surely, under the relentless determination of the humans. At first, their resistance had seemed like a nuisance, an obstacle easily crushed with superior technology and strength. But now, as he surveyed the battlefield through his fleet's sensors, he saw a different picture entirely. The humans were not just surviving. They were fighting back with everything they had, and they were doing it in ways the aliens had never anticipated. The humans were not only using their technology in new and unexpected ways, they were using their minds, their ingenuity, their creativity, and their spirit. They were creating traps, hacking into alien systems, and using their environment to their advantage. This was not a species on the brink of extinction. This was a species that was willing to die for their home, for their future. Zarka watched in horror as his fleet faced yet another unexpected defeat. The AI-driven soldiers, the machines the aliens had relied on to crush human resistance, were malfunctioning. These AI soldiers, designed to be perfect, efficient killing machines, were now turning on their creators. The humans, with their resourcefulness and determination, had somehow hacked into the machine's systems, causing them to malfunction. Instead of fighting the humans, the machines were now fighting the alien forces themselves. The chaos that ensued was unlike anything Zarka had seen before. Explosions erupted as AI soldiers turned against their masters, their weapons firing indiscriminately at everything in sight. Alien ships in the sky were suddenly under attack by their own forces, while on the ground, the humans took full advantage of the confusion. They were not just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to win, to protect everything they held dear. Zarka clenched his fists in frustration, watching his fleet unravel before his eyes. How could this be happening? The humans were supposed to be weak, predictable, and easily crushed. They were not supposed to be able to infiltrate alien technology and use it against them. The AI was supposed to be invincible, but now it was a weapon turned against its creators. In the midst of this chaos, Zarka's mind raced. He had always been a leader who believed in the superiority of his people, the unmatched strength of their technology, and their unquestionable right to conquer the galaxy. But now, watching the humans' sheer courage and ingenuity, he began to question everything. How could he have underestimated them? How could he have thought that they were nothing more than primitive, defenseless creatures? As the chaos on the battlefield continued, Zarka found himself caught between two conflicting thoughts. On one hand, the war was becoming unwinnable for his forces. The humans were adapting faster than the aliens could retaliate. On the other hand, Zarka realized that the true strength of the humans was not in their technology or their numbers. It was in their will to fight, in their refusal to give up, no matter the odds. The human spirit, it seemed, was indomitable. For the first time, Zarka felt a shift in his perspective. He had always viewed his people's mission as one of conquest, to invade, to dominate, to destroy. But now he saw the humans' relentless pushback, their unwavering resolve, and it was impossible to deny that they were worthy of something more than just destruction. They were worthy of respect. But by the time Zarka came to this realization, it was too late. The war had already spiraled beyond the point of peace. Too much blood had been spilled, too many lives lost. The hatred and anger on both sides had reached a boiling point. There could be no going back. Even if Zarka now recognized the strength of the humans, the war had already changed everything. Zarka's thoughts were interrupted by another wave of explosions. The AI soldiers, now fully malfunctioning, were turning against their masters in a chaotic storm of destruction. The ground shook as the AI machines fired at anything in their path, destroying alien ships, weapons, and soldiers alike. On the ground, the humans fought back with determination, using their knowledge of the terrain and their technology to continue the battle. Zarka clenched his teeth as he watched the scene unfold. His fleet, once so powerful, was now falling apart. The humans were pushing forward, refusing to let up, refusing to give in. And as the chaos raged on, Zarka could only watch helplessly as his forces were crushed under the weight of their own hubris. It was in that moment that Zarka truly understood the human spirit. It wasn't just about survival. It was about something deeper. The humans were fighting not just for their lives, but for their homes, for their families, for their future. They were fighting for their right to exist in a universe that had tried to erase them. And nothing, not even the most advanced alien technology, could stop that kind of determination. Zarka, now standing in the center of the war room, was faced with the truth he had been blind to for so long. The humans could not be defeated. They could only be respected. Their will to survive was unmatched, their ingenuity unparalleled. And in the end, it was their spirit that would carry them to victory. But Zarka knew that it was too late. The war had already reached a point where peace was no longer possible. The damage had been done. The humans had proven that they were more than just an obstacle to be overcome. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the war raged on, Zarka looked at his fleet with a sense of hopelessness. The humans had outsmarted them, outlasted them. And now, they were on the brink of victory. Zarka realized that he had made a fatal mistake in underestimating the humans. He had thought they were weak, but now he saw that they were strong in ways that the alien forces could never understand. They were resilient, resourceful, and unyielding. And as the last remnants of his fleet were destroyed by the relentless push of human forces, Zarka finally understood. The humans were not just a species to be conquered. They were a species to be feared, to be respected. And in the end, it was their spirit that would shape the future of the galaxy. The final battle was upon them. The alien mothership, once an unstoppable symbol of fear and superiority, now floated above Earth, its once imposing weapons and advanced technology failing to deter the relentless drive of humanity. The Earth's forces had evolved. They were no longer the underdog, no longer the weak, defenseless species they had once been seen as. Now they stood tall, armed with alien technology they had reverse-engineered and adapted for their own use. Ethan and his team, a hand-picked squad of humanity's finest soldiers, had one mission: infiltrate the mothership and deliver the final blow. The alien fleet was already in disarray, their defenses shattered by humanity's ingenuity, their technology turned against them. But to end the war once and for all, Ethan and his team had to reach the heart of the alien ship, the Central Command, where Zarka, the leader of the alien forces, waited. As they approached the mothership, Ethan couldn't help but feel a surge of adrenaline. The plan was simple, but the execution would be anything but. The ship was a labyrinth of alien corridors, each filled with dangerous soldiers, automated defense systems, and traps designed to eliminate any intruders. But humanity had adapted to these challenges. Their weapons were more advanced now, their tactics more refined. They had learned from every engagement, every battle. They had been pushed to the brink of extinction, and that had made them stronger. The team moved quickly, using the ship's own technology to disable security systems and avoid detection. They fought through wave after wave of alien soldiers, their bodies moving with precision, their minds focused on the goal. Each battle they won brought them closer to Zarka and to victory. But the closer they got to the heart of the mothership, the more dangerous the challenges became. The alien defense systems, once mere obstacles, now seemed like insurmountable walls, designed to crush any hope of victory. But Ethan and his team pushed forward, each step bringing them closer to their final goal. They had a single mission: to defeat the alien leader and end the war once and for all. Finally, they reached the central command room. Inside, Zarka stood waiting, flanked by his elite guards. The once mighty alien leader now seemed smaller, his confidence shaken by the relentless push of humanity. He had seen his fleet crumble, his soldiers fall, his technology turned against him. And now, here he was, facing the last human standing between him and the defeat of his entire mission. The room was silent for a moment, the tension thick in the air. Zarka's cold eyes locked onto Ethan's, and for the first time, there was no mockery in his gaze. There was no arrogance. There was only a quiet acknowledgement of the battle they had fought, and the battle that was about to come. "You?" Zarka said, his voice low but filled with a strange respect. "You are the reason my people will fail. It was never about your technology, your weapons. It was always about your will, your spirit. I have underestimated you." Ethan didn't flinch. "This ends now, Zarka," he said, his voice steady. "It ends with you surrendering, or it ends with your destruction. Either way, humanity will win. We always do." The final confrontation between Ethan and Zarka was not just a battle of strength. It was a clash of ideals. Zarka had fought for conquest, for the destruction of those he deemed inferior. He had believed that his species was destined to rule the galaxy, and all others were meant to serve. But in the face of humanity's resilience, he had come to understand the truth. Humans were not weak. They were strong in ways the alien species could never comprehend. Ethan, on the other hand, fought for his home, for his people, and for the future of the galaxy. He fought not out of hatred, but out of a desire to protect everything he loved. His mission was not to conquer, but to survive, to protect Earth, and to ensure that no species could ever take away the freedom and spirit of humanity. As the battle raged, Ethan and Zarka exchanged blows, their strength matching each other's. The alien leader, though powerful, could not match the human's determination. Every strike from Zarka was met with equal force, every move countered by Ethan's quick thinking and adaptability. It was a battle not just of strength but of heart, and in that moment, it was clear that humanity's heart was stronger. But as the fight dragged on, Zarka's will began to falter. He had seen the true strength of the humans, and he realized that victory was no longer possible for his forces. The war had changed everything. Humanity had proven that they were not just survivors, they were warriors. Warriors capable of adapting, capable of turning the tide of war, and capable of changing the fate of the galaxy. With one final blow, Ethan knocked Zarka to the ground. The alien leader, bloodied and broken, looked up at Ethan with a sense of resignation. The fight was over. The war was over. Humanity had won. Zarka slowly rose to his feet, his once proud form now slumped in defeat. He raised his hands in surrender, signaling the end of the conflict. His voice, once filled with anger and pride, was now tinged with a quiet, almost reluctant respect. "It's over," Zarka said, his voice filled with an eerie calm. "You have won. The war is yours." With those words, the final battle came to an end. The alien mothership, once the pinnacle of technological superiority, was now a symbol of defeat. The war was over, and humanity had triumphed. As the surviving alien forces began their retreat, Zarka turned to his officers, his face etched with the weight of everything that had happened. He whispered, almost to himself, "Never underestimate the humans. They are a force of nature." And with that, the alien fleet retreated, leaving Earth to rebuild and reclaim its place in the galaxy. Humanity had proven that no force, no matter how powerful, could ever truly defeat them. They had fought for their survival, and in doing so, they had proven that their will could never be broken. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson that day. Humanity was not a species to be ignored, underestimated, or wiped out. They were a force to be reckoned with, and no one could ever take that away from them. The war was over. Humanity had won, and the future was theirs.